And CJ, as you mentioned, like saying no is difficult early on. I think a lot of startups are in this mode, especially when they're small, of agreeing to a lot of activities, trying to make as much traction and get as much growth as fast as possible. But at a certain point, as you grow, you realize that your team's bigger, your community's bigger, and you have to start making changes. Tell us a little bit about your experience as you grew the company, how maybe the culture changed, but how your processes and your focus areas may have changed, going from that really small company to a slightly bigger company, a more a little less out of the small startup space to that growing company.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting topic. I definitely not have a lot of experience. I'm also a kind of a first time, not first time founder, but first time CEO. So definitely, what I said here is just for reference of as an example. It could be bad, it could be uh, good, but just as a kind of our experience there. So my feeling is definitely at the beginning. This is probably a pattern for commercial open source business is because the business is get started with a community. So a lot of our I would say founders all our founders are engineers, so we tend coming out from the engineer background. So in the beginning, I think when you're building out this business is all we all wearing engineer hats, working on the community and collaborating with different engineers on improving that project. So in the beginning, I think the entire culture is more engineer-driven culture. So we're looking really closely on engineer problems, and that's how kind of how we evolve in the beginning. But as we grow, when you start having the first customer, uh, 10 customers, first 10 customer, you will start seeing different aspects because I think initial a lot of these I would say initial community users are more technical, while you looking into when you once you have start having customers, a lot of these persona became users. Users, not the contributors. They don't understand the technology a lot. They are the users. They're looking into the developer experience. They're looking into user experience. They're looking into easy use of the technology. So the way how the focus would be shifted from solving those hardcore technical questions like scalability, load balancer, became okay how I can improve the entire user experience, developer experience, improving the documentation, the onboarding journey. That would become the focus, and that is where the product mindset would coming in. Is that I need to looking into the problem not from engineer perspective rather than from end user perspective, and then as you scaling up more, then you have more people that might never heard about Pulsar, they never used Pulsar before. Then how you can educate them about Pulsar, how they can get started with Pulsar, how they can use our product to mitigate the learning curve. That will become another focus. And you also have the customers coming from enterprises looking from enterprise features. So you will be looking into how you would prioritize your engineering resources between hardcore engineer problems, these enterprise features are majority of these user experience development experience problems, and that is where the prioritization would become complicated, and the collaboration between product engineer and potential customer facing teams would require more collaboration interaction there. So that's how I would say that's the requirement change would helping would drive the change on the organization. So at the beginning, you have a bunch of contributors really working on hardcore problems. The engineering team is the main drive force. As we're looking into more average entry level users, mindset will coming in, so that will become product and engineer collaborations that would need to happen in order to drive that force going forward. Once you have more customers, especially you have the enterprise customers, then the customer sales team, your customer facing team will coming in, then product customer facing team engineer would have to cooperate in order to go there. So that's kind of the iteration from different stage. But obviously, I think there's no, I would say there's no formula. It's more how the team can really learning to work together. We try to build a culture that is really open and transparent. So a lot of this communication can happen in a public channel. So in that way, we can ensure like the team, the between teams, there's a effective collaborations. That is the way how I usually see that is that you no matter what users you're dealing with, what state or persona you're dealing with, at the end of the day, the founder need to build is an effective engine. The engine that is able to collaborate with each other, that is able to prioritize and address different personas at different stage. That's my view.